Most real estate agents who make videos about living here in Kitsap County, and there are a lot of them, they will tell you about the Ferry, the mountains and the Puget Sound views and the charming small town feel. And they're not wrong. But here's what almost none of them will tell you. There are real legitimate reasons why Kitsap County is not for everyone. And if you're thinking about relocating here, or you're a local buyer trying to decide if this is the right long-term move, you deserve to hear both sides from someone who actually works this market every single week. I'm going to give you the honest pros and cons of living in Kitsap County in 2026. Not the tourist brochure version, the version that will actually help you make a smart decision. Some of this might surprise you, and some of it might even make you reconsider, but that's the point. Here's what most people believe when they start researching Kitsap County. They believe it's this hidden gem, affordable relative to Seattle, gorgeous Pacific Northwest scenery and great schools, safe neighborhoods, and somehow nobody's really discovered it yet. They believe the Ferry is kind of fun. The gray winters are no big deal, and that they'll save a ton of money compared to living in King County. That's the story being sold, and again, part of that's very true. But here's the contrarian take that I've watched play out with actual clients over and over again. The people who love Kitsap, they knew what they were getting into. They did the research and they understood the trade-offs and they made a clear-eyed choice. The people who struggled here, they believed the brochure. They relocated for the views and the space and then spent 6 months realizing they underestimated the cons, the gray season, the dependence on the Ferry, the price tag, and now they're not sure if they made the right call after all. The difference isn't Kitsap County, it's the information they had going in. My name is James Bergstrom, and I'm a real estate agent right here in Kitsap County, Washington. I work this market daily. I see what homes are actually selling for and how long things are sitting and what's driving buyers to this area and what's making some of them leave. I'm not here to sell you on Kitsap. I want you to make the right decision, even if that means you decide this isn't the right place for you. Because the last thing I want is for you to move here on bad information. So let's get into it. Here's how we're doing this. I'm going to give you 5 honest cons, the real reasons why Kitsap County might not be for you, and then 5 genuine pros, the reasons why, if it is for you, it really is one of the best places to live in the Pacific Northwest. I'm going to start with the cons. Because if you're going to make a decision this big, you need to go in with your eyes totally open. Let's start with the one thing that defines life in Kitsap County really more than anything else. The Ferry. Well, the Ferry isn't a perk, it's Constraint. Let me be direct about something that a lot of relocation videos dance around. Kitsap County is a peninsula. There are only a few ways in and out, and if you're commuting towards Seattle, the Ferry is almost certainly part of your life. The Washington State Ferry route from Bremerton to Seattle runs about an hour each way. The Kitsap Fast Ferry from Bremerton cuts that down to 28 minutes. Bainbridge Island to downtown Seattle is 35 minutes, and the Southworth through Vashon to West Seattle is about 40 minutes total, and on a direct shot, maybe 25. That sounds fine on paper, and honestly, a lot of people love it. You can read, work, decompress. I've had clients tell me the Ferry became their favorite part of the day. But here's the part that nobody talks about. The Ferry runs on a schedule, and if you miss it, you don't just sit in traffic. You wait for the next one. If there's a mechanical issue or severe weather or a cancellation, your commute just became 2 hours. The Ferry doesn't accommodate your urgency. Before you relocate to Kitsap, I want you to actually test this. Drive to the Ferry terminal during a real commute window. Ride it to Seattle. Take note of the timing, especially in rush hour, and the parking situation, the wait. Then ask yourself, is this sustainable 5 days a week for years? Because some people do that test and come back saying, that was actually incredible. And some people do it and realize this isn't the life they want. Both are valid answers, but you need to know your answer before you sign on a $600,000 home. You see, the Ferry, it's not a deal breaker. Thousands of people commute on it daily and genuinely love it. But it does mean that Kitsap County operates on its own terms. The peninsula doesn't bend to your schedule and you adapt to it. If you're someone who needs to be in Seattle at a moment's notice, or if ferry disruptions would genuinely derail your life, that matters a lot. So factor it in before you fall in love with a house. Now here's the one thing people from out of state get completely wrong about the weather. It's not what you think. It's not the rain, it's the light. Every person considering a move to the Pacific Northwest has a version of this conversation with themselves. I don't mind a little rain. I actually like cozy weather, and that's fine, because here's the thing. Kitsap County doesn't actually get that much rain compared to a lot of US cities. The average annual rainfall here is actually less than New York, Houston, or Atlanta, and that surprises most people. But what Kitsap does get, what the entire Puget Sound region gets, it's gray. It's overcast, flat, diffused light from October through March, sometimes April. You don't necessarily get heavy downpours. You get relentless cloud cover, drizzle, and light that feels like someone turned the sun's brightness down to 40%. If you're moving from a place with 250 plus sunny days a year, like Phoenix, Dallas, Southern California, and Florida, this is a serious lifestyle adjustment. Not impossible, but serious. So here's what I tell every out-of-state client. Come visit in January or February, not in July, because visiting in July is not a fair test. Puget Sound summers are legitimately gorgeous, 70 degrees, low humidity, stunning, but that's not the version you'll spend the most time in. Come in the winter, walk around, eat dinner, see how you feel after 2 days of gray skies. Your body will tell you the truth. You see, vitamin D supplements, full spectrum lamps, and getting outside even when it's overcast, these aren't jokes here. They're part of the lifestyle toolkit for a lot of locals. A lot of people adapt to this completely, and many locals will tell you the summers here are worth every gray January. The light comes back in June and it's spectacular in a way that you can only appreciate if you've earned it through a dark winter. But this is a legitimate quality of life consideration that some people underestimate, and it would be dishonest of me to not name it clearly. Speaking of things people underestimate, let me talk about something that sounds minor, but really isn't, especially if you're used to city living. Space comes at the cost of convenience. One of the big draws of Kitsap County is the space. You have bigger lots, more house for the money compared to Seattle, with actual yards. For a lot of relocators coming from dense metros, that's really primary appeal. But there's a trade-off baked in that people don't always think through. When you spread a population across the peninsula with limited commercial density, you end up driving for a lot of things. Need a Trader Joe's? You're looking at 20 to 40 minutes depending on where you live. Specialty grocers, medical specialists, large shopping options, certain restaurants, many of these exist but not around the corner. Kitsap's walkability score in most areas is low. This is a car-dependent county. This one comes down to knowing your lifestyle. Even if you work from home and your world is your neighborhood, your property, hiking trails, and an occasional trip to Silverdale for errands, you might not miss the urban density at all. Plenty of people report that after 6 months, they stopped missing walkability entirely. But if you're used to stepping out your front door and having 30 restaurant options, a gym, a dry cleaner, and a coffee shop, all within a 4-block radius, you're going to feel that absence, especially in year 1. This isn't a flaw, it's a feature, or a bug depending entirely on who you are. Kitsap is suburban to rural in character. You're trading density for space, and that's a trade that millions of people make happily. Just go in knowing the math. All right, this next one is particularly important if you work from home, and it could be a genuine deal breaker. Cell coverage and internet, and sometimes cable, are not guaranteed. Remote work changed the map of who lived where. Kitsap benefited enormously from that shift. People who no longer needed to be in Seattle 5 days a week started looking across the water, and they found Kitsap. But here's something that doesn't always make the relocation highlight reel. Cell phone reception is patchy in significant parts of this county. Rural corridors, certain neighborhoods, even some areas not far from town, you can find yourself without reliable service. And internet infrastructure in rural Kitsap is not uniformly strong. Fiber availability depends heavily on exactly where you're looking. If you're seriously considering a property in Kitsap County, especially anything rural or off a main road, you need to test the internet before you close. Not ask about it, test it. Visit the property and run a speed test. Ask the neighbors. Check with the county what providers serve that address. Fiber is available in parts of the county and coverage is expanding, but it's not universal. And if your income depends on a reliable 100 Mbps connection, this is not a thing to assume. It's a thing to verify. This is improving. There's continued infrastructure investment all across the county, and more areas are getting upgraded service. But as of 2026, it's a real variable that can meaningfully affect your quality of life if you work remotely. Don't find out after you've moved in and closed. Okay, here's the last con, and this one catches a lot of people off guard, especially buyers coming from lower cost of living markets. Kitsap is not the affordable escape you think it is. Here is the #1 misconception I encounter with out-of-state buyers. They've been priced out of King County. They've been comparing Kitsap to Seattle, Bellevue, Redmond, and relative to those markets, Kitsap looks like a really great deal, and historically, it was. But the market has moved. As of late 2025, the median sale price in Kitsap County crossed $598,000. Median listing prices early in 2025 were pushing $675,000. Price per square foot is up nearly 6% year over year. Homes in Kitsap are still cheaper than comparable properties in King County, but the gap has narrowed significantly. I mean, I recollect back in 2001 when I started real estate. High end was $220,000 out here. You could buy a home for 80 grand. It was incredible. But if you're relocating from Phoenix, Austin, Denver, or the Midwest, expecting to buy a nice home in the 400,000s, the inventory at that price point is thin. And what exists is often smaller, older, or in areas with longer commute variables. So before you set your budget, recalibrate your expectations. The days when Kitsap was meaningfully under $500,000 for a solid single-family home are largely behind us. If you're financing, run the numbers with actual 2026 rates. There is a meaningful difference between what you can technically qualify for and what makes sense for your life. If affordability is your primary driver, I'd encourage you to look at the southern part of the county, areas around Bremerton and Port Orchard, where you can still find more value per dollar, but go in with current numbers, not assumptions from 3 years ago. Here's the silver lining, and I mean this. Prices rising in Kitsap is actually evidence of what's working. Demand is driven by the real quality of life here. People aren't paying $598,000 for nothing, but you need to know what you're walking into, not what Kitsap looked like in 2021. Okay, you've been patient. 5 cons, real honest, and hopefully useful. Now let me tell you why tens of thousands of people took all of that on and moved here anyway. Before I get into the pros, I want to offer you something. If you're seriously considering a move to Washington State, or even just in the research phase, I put together a free Washington State relocation guide that covers exactly what you need to know before you make this move. The county-by-county breakdown, cost comparisons, what to look for in a market, and a whole lot more. Link is in the description. 0 cost, no catch, grab it and use it. Let's talk about the real reasons people love it here, myself included. The #1 thing people tell me after they've been here 6 months is this: I forgot what it felt like to be stressed, and here's why. The pace of life is a totally different universe. If you've been living in a major metro, like Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, Atlanta, you have adapted to a baseline level of low-grade stress that you've probably stopped noticing because it's just the background noise of your life. Kitsap County runs on a different frequency. Traffic is real, but it doesn't reach the neurological ceiling that freeway gridlock in a major city does. The lines are shorter, people wave at each other. There's a reason the word community still means something tangible here. So this one is hard to quantify, but easy to feel. I've had clients tell me that within 3 months of moving here, they stopped reaching for their phone out of boredom. They started cooking more. They were sleeping better. One client told me her resting heart rate dropped 8 points. That's not Kitsap marketing. That's what happens when you remove 2 hours of commute stress, gridlock freeway anxiety, and the overstimulation of dense urban environments from someone's daily life. You see, Kitsap County forces a simpler, slower rhythm, and for the right person, that is the whole point. So if you're relocating to decompress, to raise kids with actual outdoor space, to have a life that doesn't feel like it's consuming you, this is the right ecosystem for that. The pace here will support that version of your life in ways that are hard to find anywhere else at this price point. And when you want to sit back up and head over to Seattle, it's literally 35 minutes by ferry. And that brings me to the next pro. You're not giving up Seattle, you're choosing when to use it. One of the fears people have most about moving to Kitsap County is that they are leaving behind everything a major city offers. The restaurants, the culture, the professional networks, and the events. But here's the thing, Seattle is right across the water. The Bainbridge Island ferry to downtown Seattle is 35 minutes. The Kitsap Fast Ferry from Bremerton is 28 minutes. You're not moving to rural Montana. You're moving to a peninsula that has a boat to one of the most dynamic cities on the West Coast. And that boat ride is fun and beautiful. You see, people live in Kitsap and commute to Seattle 5 days a week. The ferry is their office. People live in Kitsap and go into Seattle on weekends for dinner, events, or concerts, and then come home to quiet. People live in Kitsap and barely go to Seattle at all because they've built a full life on the peninsula. All three of those are valid. The point is, you're not trading Seattle for nothing. You're adding optionality. Seattle is available to you when you want it and absent from your daily life when you don't. This is actually one of Kitsap's most underrated qualities. Most affordable alternatives to Seattle are an hour or more away with no direct transit option. You see, Kitsap is unique in that you get genuine geographic separation and reliable quick access that's rare anywhere in the country. But Kitsap's outdoors are a reason in themselves, and I want to give you the real picture of what that access really looks like. Outdoor access that most of the country can't touch. You see, Kitsap County has 236 miles of saltwater shoreline. That's not a marketing number, that's geographic reality. The peninsula is surrounded by Puget Sound and Hood Canal and a web of inlets and bays. Water access here is not a luxury, it's ambient. And for most parts of Kitsap, you can see the Olympic Mountains to the west and the Cascades to the east. Those aren't backdrop mountains. You can be in the Olympics in under an hour for serious hiking. You can be on water with a kayak in 10 minutes from most neighborhoods. And the ski resort at Crystal Mountain is about 90 minutes away. So for outdoor families, hikers, kayakers, cyclists, boaters, anyone who runs or walks regularly, Kitsap is essentially a daily playground, and the access isn't at the cost of comfort. You're not roughing it. You can leave a modern home in a nice neighborhood and be in genuinely wild terrain within 30 minutes. That combination, modern housing, community infrastructure, and immediate outdoor access is exceptionally rare. Most places that give you the outdoor access also ask you to sacrifice the housing quality or the services. For a certain type of person, this is not just a lifestyle benefit, it's health infrastructure. The data on what regular outdoor access does for mental and physical health is overwhelming, and Kitsap County hands you that access by default. You just have to use it. I want to talk about something that most people looking at Kitsap from the outside don't factor in, and it's actually one of the strongest arguments for this county as a long-term place to plant roots. The economic stability that tech cycles can't touch. Most people know that the naval base is here. What they don't fully appreciate is the scale. Naval Base Kitsap is one of the largest naval installations in the whole United States. Puget Sound Naval Shipyard in Bremerton is the largest naval ship repair facility on the whole West Coast. Naval Submarine Base Bangor houses the nation's largest concentration of deployable nuclear warheads. These are not small operations. The defense infrastructure here employs tens of thousands of people directly, and multiples of that in direct and support jobs. It is the foundational economic anchor of this county. What does this mean practically for a buyer or homeowner? It means Kitsap County's economy has a floor that most counties don't have. When the tech sector contracted in 2022 and 2023 and Seattle saw layoffs across the whole industry, Kitsap's employment picture was relatively stable. The shipyard doesn't close, the submarine base doesn't relocate. Federal defense spending moves on a very different cycle than private sector employment. If you're making a 15 or 30-year housing decision, Economic stability matters as much as current conditions, and on that dimension, Kitsap is genuinely differentiated. Beyond the military, Kitsap has a growing healthcare sector, expanding small business ecosystem, and increasing remote work population, bringing outside income into the local economy. The base isn't the whole story, it's the foundation. Everything else is building on top of it. And that brings me to the last pro. And this is the one I most want you to hear, especially if you're a buyer or a potential investor watching this right now. Kitsap is still undervalued relative to where it's going. I told you earlier that the median sales price in Kitsap has crossed $598,000. It's not the affordable escape it once was. I stand by that as a caution to you. But here's the flip side. Compared to King County, Kitsap is still priced at a meaningful discount for comparable square footage and land. The living wage to carry a median mortgage in Kitsap is roughly $46 per hour versus $79 per hour in King County. That gap is real and it hasn't closed. And with remote work permanently restructuring where people can live, Kitsap sits at a genuinely rare intersection. Ferry access to a major city, Pacific Northwest lifestyle, below King County pricing, and a stable economic base, that combination has demand legs. If you're buying here as a primary residence and you're planning to stay 5 years to 10 years, the long-term fundamentals are literally in your favor. You're not chasing a peak, you're buying into a market with structural tailwinds. If you're buying as an investor or a second property, Kitsap has rental demand driven by military relocation cycles, which are constant, predictable, and recession resistant. That's a different risk profile than speculative appreciation bets. None of this is a guarantee. No market ever is, but the story Kitsap is telling in 2026 is not the story of a market that's played out. It's the story of a market that's still in the middle of a longer arc. The people who are building long-term wealth in Kitsap real estate right now are not people who got lucky in 2019. They're people who understand what this county is becoming, not just what it is. The infrastructure is improving. The ferry capacity is improving. Remote work is only expanding. The demographic shift towards Pacific Northwest lifestyle markets is still early. So Kitsap, it's not a gamble, it's a thesis. If you're in the research phase of a move to Washington State, the free relocation guide I put together covers what you need to know before you commit. The county breakdowns, market data, what questions to ask, and how to think through a decision this size. It's in the description. Grab it, it's totally free, it's yours. And if you're ready to talk through your specific situation, whether you're relocating or a local buyer or seller, reach out directly. My contact info is in the description too. I work Kitsap County every single day of the week. Let me help you make the right call. All right, let's quickly bring this home. 5 cons. The ferry dependency that shapes your daily rhythm, the gray season that is real and under-discussed, the trade-off between space and urban convenience, the cell and internet variables in rural areas, and the price reality. Kitsap in 2026 is not cheap by national standards, even if it's still a relative value within the Puget Sound region. The 5 pros. A pace of life that will literally change your stress baseline. Seattle access whenever you want it. 35 minutes by ferry. Outdoor access that most of the country cannot offer at any price. Economic stability anchored by one of the most significant naval installations in the whole country. And real estate fundamentals that point toward long-term appreciation and not short-term speculation. Here's what I want you to take from this. Kitsap County is not for everyone, and that's okay. The people who thrive here are the people who chose it clearly, who looked at both columns and said, yes, this is the life I want. Not the people who bought the brochure, but for the right person, it is genuinely one of the best places to live in the Pacific Northwest and maybe even the country. I've moved here in 1998 and I absolutely love it and have raised my children here. I hope this gave you more than you came in expecting, and that was the point. So 2 things before you go. If you're still in research mode, just learning, figuring out if Washington State is even a fit, the free Washington State relocation guide in the description is the right next step. Download it, read it, use it. It's built for exactly where you are. If you've moved past research and you're ready to actually talk through a real move, a real purchase, or what your current Kitsap property is worth, reach out to me directly. Links in the description or just comment below and I'll respond. I work this county every week. I'm not here to close you. I'm here to help you make the right decision, whatever that turns out to be. I'm James Bergstrom with Paramount Real Estate Group, and I'll see you in the next one.